Hi guys, Jackknifed here. After a bit of a break, I've decided to go for a new style of video. I hope you enjoy. I know what you're thinking. Run 3, that fucking Flash game I played back in 2015. But I think there's more to it. I've been playing this game a lot over the past few weeks and I've learned a lot. Run 3 looks like a harmless infinite runner game, but below the surface there's a much darker story, totally hinted at through the environment. Let's start with your player character, this little grey guy with antenna. Well, it looks like some kind of alien, and the game calls them aliens. I believe these characters to be humans, at least humans in the far future. I mean, think about it. They speak English, they read books, they use balloons and skates, they come from a planet that looks conspicuously like Earth. This even explains non-human characters like the lizard, a humanoid reptile who can't speak, but can otherwise do everything a human can. In the far future, humanity has managed to splice DNA, creating humanoid animals to fill in the gaps in the ecosystem, cheap labour, maybe even food stock. There doesn't seem to be any other animals in the game, not even other aliens. The game presumably takes place across the Milky Way, and we meet no alien species of any kind. Apart from other human NPCs you meet and can play as, it's just you and the endless maze of tunnels. More on those tunnels. At the beginning of the game, you come to a barrier, saying you're entering a restricted area. Presumably, this is a series of tunnels that orbits Earth and links up to other areas in the galaxy. Some have different colours, some are square, some are hexagonal, some have even more sides. The main similarity between all of them is that gravity keeps you on them. The tunnels utilise some kind of future technology, which means you can stand on any part of them. My theory is that most of humanity now lives in these tunnels. It's like a giant city. Think about it, there's sports areas, warehouses, this place has the same kind of facilities that we have in the modern day. But these tunnels are falling apart. Holes everywhere. Bits of the tunnels are rotting and break away under your feet. Other areas have low power and flickering lights, making it hard to see. Judging by what some characters say, most of them have never been to Earth and have lived their entire life in these tunnels. Books appear to be banned because they're meant to trick you, and the barriers keeping anyone from leaving the tunnels indicate that humanity has entered a totalitarian rule. So let's recap. In the far future, humanity has evolved to live in the tunnels, a winding hive city that is slowly breaking apart at the seams. Any information that hints to an existence outside of the tunnels is banned or otherwise derided. But this isn't exactly horrifying until you put it into perspective. The scariest thing about Run 3, in my opinion, is this. Not the act of falling, but what it entails. The tunnels may have artificial gravity, but they likely don't have any air. There are holes everywhere, and you can't really get sucked outside as you would if the tunnels had an atmosphere. So likely, these far future humans have evolved to survive in a vacuum without the presence of oxygen. So what happens if they fall into space? They can live without air, they can survive the vacuum of space, they can probably survive the freezing temperatures. If you fall out of the tunnels, you're stuck, floating through space. You won't be able to die, and maybe these things can't die. When you fall off, you start at the beginning of the tunnel, which works fine for a gameplay loop. But story-wise, imagine what it's like. Every part of your body is numb and freezing, solar radiation is burning you from the inside, you can't move or escape the situation in any way. Worst of all, you can't die. You'll be stuck in this agony, possibly forever, unless these things can starve to death or die of old age, which might be better or worse. Maybe somebody retrieves you, bringing you back to the tunnels to do it all over again. Without the cheerful music playing, which I usually mute, Run 3 is a very lonely game. While later on, NPCs interrupt your gameplay and cutscenes, most of the time you're on your own. The concept of liminal spaces took off with the backrooms a couple years ago, and I'm surprised nobody mentioned this game. The tunnels seem to stretch on forever, and you get the feeling, or at least I did, like this is all there is. Earth is probably overcrowded by this point, and the tunnel's crumbling infrastructure is evident. It makes you wonder how bad things got on Earth for our player to escape into the restricted areas of the tunnels. The game calls them the student. This is a child, running away from their home presumably. It seems a lot of other people are surviving out here, other runners like you, exploring what's left of the tunnels. I called Run 3 an infinite runner game at the start of this video, but that's not quite true. It's massive, yes, but not infinite. The different tunnels and subsections eventually just come to an end. You reach a point where you just can't go any further. And I think that's what Run 3 is really about. The end. The end of the tunnels? Yes. The end of humanity? Maybe. But it's not a melancholy game. The different runners seem to take joy in what they do. It's almost like a sport, a subculture. And I can't blame them. The game is fun. It's amazing. Whatever's happening on Earth, it spurred them to break the rules, go into the restricted areas, do their own thing with their lives. Life is limited, and eventually you'll reach the end. So you might as well enjoy it while it lasts.